Whatever your skill or experience level is as an angler, you deserve a fishing reel that contributes to your success and satisfaction on the water and never detracts from it. From the makers of St. Croix rods, Seven Reels, spelled Seviin, is born of 7 decades of design and manufacturing expertise, industry-leading angler support, and the American family ownership dating back to 1977. Seven Reels are designed and crafted for high performance and unrelenting reliability. Verified at least 16 different ways by extreme torture testing at Seven's one-of-a-kind Park Falls, Wisconsin laboratory. Seven Reels are also proven on the water by the most demanding professional guides and tournament anglers. So by the time a Seven reaches your hands, it's ready for anything you throw at it. Guaranteed by the best and easiest warranty in the industry. Disappointment happens, but there should never come as a result of your reel. Seven Reels are tested, proven, and guaranteed to be the most reliable on the planet. Check out the entire lineup at sevenreels.com. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Real Talk Fishing with No Limits. Today, we head up north into South Dakota. Not North Dakota, just northern South Dakota a little bit to talk to the one and only Mr. Chad Schilling with Oahe Wings and Walleyes Guide Service, the home of the monster walleyes and the ridiculous amount of roosters running around your house. So how's it going up there besides just catching big fish?
It's been a crazy spring. You've been working on the water. It's been a crazy spring with hot, cold, wind, dead flat. It goes hot it seems like we can't get a happy medium, but the fishing is way different than, everybody knows about the big fish in Oahe, but we've had a few years where you can't get good slots.
Right.
And now that's all we're catching. We're used to catching 100, 150 fish a day. You're catching 20 and you keep 18. And I'm not talking measure them like they're
all right.
15 to 21 inches. It's just crazy how this system it never seems to be the same. And I've had people for 25 years and it seems like every year they're like, we've never seen it like this. And that's just normal out here, I guess. So it's good. At the end of the day, you lay your fish out on the cleaning table and you're like, oh my gosh, we had a good day, but it didn't feel like it. You grind. It's been
all right.
You work everything you get. And at the end of the day, you've earned them. And, some days guys don't get them. I've been pretty blessed. I've had one slower day, but the rest of the year I've got them, but it didn't feel like I got them until you lay them out at the end of the day. So
yeah, it's kind of, you're catching a lot of fish, keeps you busy, but I think at the end of the day, guys are like, man, I got all these 17, 8, 19 inch fish. I'd rather catch 20 of these, than 113 and a half inches or whatever the case may be.
Let's take that laying them out at the end of the day though, to let them realize it's strange because I feel like I could go out and catch that many fish over 28 inches if you give me a day.
Yep.
They're there, but obviously we don't target them, and it's not really a customer-friendly way to go catch them with the forward-facing. So we catch one almost every day. We catch one on a bottom bouncer or just blind cast and a jig wrap, but you get one. And if you go target them, the other night my son went out. He was out for 4 hours. He had 11 over 28 inches in 4 hours. So
jeez.
3 of them were over 12 pounds, so it's weird. This isn't, and like he asked me the other day, were we not good at this before? Or are they just biting earlier? Because this feels like a August bite.
Yep.
And it's going. It's strong. There's not many guys doing it, which is crazy, which, whatever. Everybody can love it or hate it. They're a resource out there. I kind of like when people do it. I don't like see them cleaning them.
Yep.
I do like seeing people catching a personal best right now. Isn't very hard for a lot of people.
Yeah, I was looking forward to cut up this fall. I didn't make it last fall. I've been trying to get up there forever. Last time I did, I think you and Kemus were shooting that show, and I was like, I drove up from Sioux Falls, was on the water, and missed the big fish bikes. I didn't get there till like 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And then went home that night and I'm like, man, that was dumb. I got to stay for at least 2 days. I was there just to crack a big one, do a little YouTube. And I'm like, I don't have to wait till fall. I'm getting up there after this NTC and I got a little lull, I think maybe early July, the wife and I to go out to like Bob's Resort or so around the 4th. Yep. I'm like, we may have to just sneak up there for a little while, bring the photographer.
Yeah, it's something. We do have some skinny fish in the system and it's just, we never catch them when they start migrating down. I don't know whether we didn't know how or we just weren't catching them. I don't know the answer, honestly, but you do catch some 30 inches right now that weigh 8.5, 9 pounds.
All right.
The next one will weigh in the teens. It's just the ones that got here, once they get here, they have their herring that they focus on them. And they get big, and we are blessed. It's in our backyard year round. We can go catch them. Nope,
They're
we can't catch them in the winter. I have no idea where they
they just disappear, man.
no idea, but all summer we can catch them. So.
It has been a little different this year. I'm seeing that even on the last reservoir on the system, Lewis and Clark, and I was at Francis Case yesterday, and the fish at Francis Case are very healthy. I had a 17-incher I couldn't put my hand around.
Yeah, isn't it? So.
I'm like, these are a little bit bigger. When the NWT was here a few years ago, they were a little bit below average, but with this, they didn't get much fishing pressure last year because nobody could get them. And I'm like, that's because they were full. Yep. And now they show that they are full. At 19 and a half, that was 3 pounds. And that, which should be, that's still really healthy. But I had an 18 that was under 2. So you get that mix. You're like, hey, this one's it bit for a reason, I guess, right? Because it's hungry, and it could have been a late post-potter or whatever the case was. But we've seen it in Yankton too. We got a ton of, if you get them over like 19, 20, they're really thick.
Yep.
But there's a ton of 14 3/4, 14 7/8, which is great. But kind of what you're used to, catching 100 up. You got to go. It's a numbers game. But yeah, it's like 1 to 3 maybe, but then you get a lot of like 15 to 17s, and they're average, but the bigger ones are thick, really thick and healthy.
Yeah, so, we have all our slot fish are fat. We don't have any thin slot fish. It's just them big females, and I think they made the trip all the way to North Dakota, is my guess.
Yeah,
they've been swimming, they've been working, and now they're at home. Now they'll get fat. It won't take long.
It don't take long eating them big herring, and it sounds like kind of on the tail end of that big fish stuff, because the herring is, I don't know, some biologist there said something, only a couple of years left of that in the system. I'm like, I don't it seems to me like, I don't know how you determine that, but
I don't know either. And I mean, forward facing, if anything, we learned so much more than what we ever knew in the old days. And it is completely saturated with herring right now. They're everywhere. I mean, they're all sizes. They're from 6, 8 inches to them giant, 2-pound herring out there. And
really?
They're everywhere. And if you find them, you find the giants with them. The big fish go right with them. So
it's like it used to be. You'd flying along and you graph them basically at full speed almost. And you're like, oh, there's some fish. And you slow down. You're like, oh, this goes on for a mile. This is herring. Right.
And actually the number of, our fish we're targeting, the system's full, but like you said, they're full. They don't eat. It's amazing how many follows we all have. We're all running pontoons for the most part. We do run our Lund boats too, but we'd have the forward facing pointed at the spinners and stuff all the time. And how many fish swim up, nose it, swim away. And like you're telling people all day, get ready. Never mind. Oh, get ready. Never mind. It's just like that all day long. So.
It's amazing. I've run my scope back, watching the bouncers, and obviously we couldn't do this just a few years ago. You're like, man, how many fish over the years have I had following me or nipping and just turning? Now you're getting ready, and you're like, just the amount of them you go over. You're like, man, you saw a couple on the 2D. You're like, oh, we're going to go over one. But now with that, you're like, we're going over them nonstop.
Yeah, that whole, it's not fair, and all you got to do is buy that, and you're going to ruin the system. No, you're going to ruin your mental focus.
Right.
I had half the time. It doesn't make it fun. You do learn a lot, and it does have a major advantage, but at the same time, it don't make them bite. And there's a lot of people who don't know how to read it anyway. So buying it doesn't make you good. You got to stare at it. You got to learn it. So.
It's as great as it is. It's frustrating as hell as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because I was throwing a jig and wrap yesterday for the first time all year, and I was like, oh my God, how many fish am I missing? And how fast they would react, which obviously you have to. And the ones I caught they literally choked it, but I'm like, I wouldn't have caught any of these without it. Maybe a couple I would have seen them on a 2D, and I did actually. I was on a spot lock. This wasn't on a jig and wrap, it was on a Ned rig, but spot lock fishing out the front, and then I was packing up to leave, and I was like, damn it. I go in the back of the boat, and the 2D's got one right underneath the boat. Huge mark. I'm like, well, what the hell? So I just dropped it straight down the back. Couldn't get it. So I went up front and just took it off spot lock and drifted back. And as soon as I went over it, and it was like an 18.5-incher, just fat. I'm like, all right. So 2D does work. It's still there. It still works pretty good.
But it's amazing how many fish we used to catch, because we used to drive over them and hit a waypoint and go back there and anchor and catch them. I wonder if we were ever catching the same fish, because you watch them move so much now. It's like, you were just in an area where there was fish and you hope to go back and drop it on them. Now we put it in their face. We give them the opportunity, whether they eat it or not is all on them. But it's a fun tool, and the boring days, at least you can show the customer, see, I have you
Yeah.
on. They're just not eating what we got. Switching, and yeah, it seems like when they want to eat, they eat. So
Yeah, you're right, and as a guide to guide that we have that to tool to us that I'm saying them like they're right here, see them, and those and honestly in the past have probably been the bigger tip days because guys are like we get it, it's right now we got a full moon, there's all that, there's so many variables right when fishing about weather, that's all
just
weather, wind, water clarity, all that water temperature is all driven by the weather, which pretty much dictates the bite and how your date's going to go, for the most part. But you can look at them like hunting when you're pheasants and whatever. You're like, they're here.
yeah,
Wind, rain, windy. They're here. We're going to get them up. Whether you can hit them or not, that's up to you. I'm going to give you, all the opportunity in the world. Fishing's a little different. It's like, here's the opportunity, but I can't force them to bite your hook.
yeah.
No.
We hope they get in the right ones. Yep.
Yeah, it's
But what a great game. We're blessed to get to do it at all. We're blessed. It's a lot of fun. So
yeah, everybody that doesn't know about guiding stuff, it's I talked or text Chad late last night, and Shauna's like, "Hey, still in the water." It's like 8 or 9 o'clock, at night, and I'm like, "Yeah, you're probably doing what I do, or you had a day, or maybe it's a tough day, and you go back. You got to stay ahead of it, right? You're trying to."
I was scoping giants. That's what I did.
Yeah, and I would be too if I was up there. It'd be hard to get me to come in. It's just fun.
It's a learning curve that if you don't do it all the time,
Yep.
you'll fall behind. And I'm learning that from my now 19-year-old son. He's an animal at it. I mean, he literally will tell you within an inch of that fish's size before he ever throws at it. And he'll just drive by them all day. He's like, 27, Ted, we won't. No, 25, we don't want to throw at that one. And he goes, oh, here's a 30. Let's catch this one. And it'll be 30 when he catches it. It's like, I wish I could see what you see.
Right.
You got to stare at it. That's what you got to do. So.
Yeah, it's practice makes perfect, and Bo's doing it right, and it's a young man's thing, and sure they naturally learn this stuff easier because they grew up with a little bit more technology, like we were talking earlier than you and I did.
Yeah.
But we're not dumb. We're pretty quick learners. We're getting the hang of it, but we also love those old traditional things, right? There's just kind of the element of the surprise of what's going to bite.
I do love blind casting. I ain't gonna lie. I love blind casting. I do it all day long when I'm guiding, and but you do know how much you're wasting. But whatever, I still like doing it. Keeps me busy, so.
Yep, keeps you busy. You're like, there's probably nothing there, but I'm gonna whip. But when you get that tick, you're like, oh yeah, I got it. I'll run up on the scope and just take a peek sometimes and be like, all right, they're over there. But you tell your clients throw over there, you put your bob or whatever the case is. It's fun, and I don't think you ever get that out of some of us. And for those that don't have the live scope, it's okay. You can still catch them without.
Oh, yeah, with half the frustration as we throw it, we know we're throwing at them. At least you don't know. You're just having fun. So.
Yep, and that's it. That's the name of the game. Let's just have fun, sit back. And you guys get the pontoons. I tell you, man, one of my guides has a pontoon, and I fished off it a little bit with him last fall, and I'm like, why don't I have one? This is slick, man.
Yeah, this spring we didn't. I mean, we had good bookings. We always have the same bookings, and
right.
We got. I have definitely. I will bet the farm that I have the youngest set of guides on the lake right now. I have a couple 21-year-olds, and they go down to 18-year-olds now. We finally got everybody over 18, but I got a lot of young and a lot of enthusiasm and kids that are different than what I see a lot around the country. I got a lot of these kids love what they're doing. My team is pretty exciting, and man, we have 7 pontoons with them going almost every day right now, and we've kind of integrated a bunch of boat boys, which is just exciting. We got these 14-year-old kids who they think this is what they want to do, and first 5 days, it's still pretty much what they want to do, and that's when you find out after about 2 weeks or 3 weeks straight. And we got a nice crew of young guys coming too. So it's good. We're training the next generation in case we lose somebody sometime, but it's fun to have young kids. You can get on their butts. My old guides, when I chew their butts, their feelings get hurt. These guys just shake it off and they're ready to go. So
yeah, they can pretty short-term memories, like some of us that take it personally or whatever, right? They're like, whatever, that old guy don't know crap. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
but
I get a lot of washed up comments. They always tell me I'm washed up, because they're the new. But it's all in good fun, and we have a blast. I don't know if there's a team that screws around more than we do, so it's a lot of fun.
They got a lot to learn. He ain't washed up yet because I bet when the wind gets ripping and it's like, hey, better call Uncle Chad to see how we can control this. What do we do? And you're like, drift socks this, work this angle. That there's boat control, not just live scope, but in general, boat control, especially when you got half a dozen or more rods out with a pontoon full of clients. It can get messy.
It can, and they learn by their mistakes, just
Yep.
like we had to. It doesn't
Yeah.
go, oh, I can't do that. So they learn quick, and I always tell them it doesn't have to be hard. You can fish easy. You can find a comfortable spot and catch. Well, we're blessed. I mean, Hawaii's full of fish. They're everywhere. You got to find the ones elite, but you can go beyond fish about anywhere. And being out of the wind is a little better than being in the heart of it. So
Yeah, we had some of that wind the other day, and I kind of just tell them, I'm like, you can be comfortable and we'll catch them and maybe slower, but you're going to enjoy your day a whole hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
But if you're hardcore, you want to go rip them and fight it, which I really got to fight it, right? If you're driving the boat or you're trolling or pulling bouncers, you're on that trolling motor like crazy. You're like, man, this sucks. The wind's right. It's wrapping, lying around rod tips because people are doing all sorts of, you've seen it all, reeling that bouncer through the top eyelet, and you know the routine, the gig, right? You're like, wind makes everything 10 times more difficult. So if we can catch them, and you got a lot of coves and bays, so you got that going for. I don't have that on Lewis and Clark. It's just that's it. It's straight shot. You got big high bluffs, but if you can get out of it, I always 90% of the time the client's like, yeah, we love that spot where it was nice and comfortable.
Yes. And so do I. So you're not. You give yours the option. I go where it's comfortable, and we catch them, and if we don't, I guess there's another day. But you're comfortable and safe, and But that's living in South Dakota. We grew up doing that, so we know.
Yeah, it is a windy state, man. I don't necessarily give them the option. I just kind of tell them what the things are, and you make them go to. Yeah, I like that one. You make one sound really, really favorable. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're over here, but you're on a phenomenal fishery with just putting out monster fish. It's absolutely insane. I'm going to get up there soon. I'll touch base with you in early July or something like that. Maybe get up there and shoot some video or what have you the case. But you got.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about this new line that Seagar introduced this year. It's been on the market for a couple years, but it's been over in Japan. They just brought it over to the United States this year, and I absolutely love it. It's called PEX8. This is by far the thinnest diameter braid I have ever used. This is still an 8-strand braided line with such a thin diameter. It's unbelievable. I'm using an 18-pound test today, and it feels like 2-pound. The advantages to this thin diameter is if it's windy out, I'm not catching much wind, I get less bow in the line. High pressure situations where the fish are, taking on a lot of fishing pressure, a thinner diameter line, less visible, of course. Current in the rivers, I'm going to cut the current a little better. I'm going to get better control, and they did all this without losing any of its strength. This stuff is still strong as all the Seagar braided lines, and the sensitivity is second to none. So check this out. This PEX8 over at seagar.com.
I mean, you got the Governor's Cups coming up. They just had some tournaments up there, I think.
Yeah, they just did the MWC.
All right, we won that one.
There's a casino circuit. I had to actually see if Bo was going to graduate. I was on his graduation day, so I didn't get to fish that one. I just got back from Devils. They do another part of the circuit up there.
Yep, Spirit. Yep.
And there's tournaments every weekend. We did the Wolves on the Water last weekend. They had that here also. So it's that time of year. There's tournaments all the time. It's just constant. So
there is. They're on Francis Case. We got the big NTC coming up next week. I think there was like 2 or 3 tournaments out of Whetstone and Platte last week. There's Sunday leagues. It's just, you're right. It's that time of year. And you got a real big tournament coming up, which is an annual one, right? The Akaska tournament, but you got a little twist on it. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't understand it when it came out. I was like, it sounds cool, but it's a little confusing though.
So that's the deal. And it's, we're super excited. And I'm not going to lie. When they were explaining it to me, I was like, ooh, and I'm getting so many phone calls. People
I can imagine
want to do it. It's not difficult, but it's so much different than anybody's ever seen in the walleye world. And, they've been doing it. That's the biggest thing. Everybody's like, oh, we're going to be the guinea pigs. This has happened. It's called the Big Bass Bash down south, and they're huge. I mean, the bass people have showed up. They just did their first crappie one with the same format. I hope I don't misspeak, but I think they did 1,500 people in the crappie one. So, I'm looking at the walleye world and begging them, show up. Let's show them this can work, because it is for the hardcore guys who want to go focus on getting one bite and getting winning a huge prize. But it's also for, hey, I'm going to take my kids, get in a tournament. We can go, heck, we might win an hourly prize with a 19-incher. You never know. So it gives a lot of opportunities for people to win. And it has a giant carrot hanging there at the end for the guys who only are worried about that. And I've explained it a bunch. The simple system is you're fishing for one fish if you're hardcore, and it's a $10,000 fish over the 2-day period. You only get to weigh one. With South Dakota rules, you get one over. Okay, so that makes that easy. But
one a day
over 20 inches you can weigh. And so once you weigh your over, you're done that day. The thing is, every 2 hours there's a weigh-in. So if you're within distance, and you can put your boat in anywhere you want, as long as you start at 8 o'clock. There's going to be lie detector tests, which is going to, everybody's so worried about cheating. Let's just be more honorable than that. We don't even have to talk about it. Let's just, we don't have to do it.
It sounds so simple, Chad.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does.
If you want to be crooked, we're going to catch you, or you're going to get humbled at some point, and that's fair and final. But it makes it so people can put in at Whitlocks, they can put in at Mobridge. We don't have to have the congestion. You can even go out and be sitting on the water. You can be sitting there 8 o'clock when the time goes off. You can start fishing. When you do want to weigh one in, though, you got to bring it to Swan Creek, and the scales and everything, and everything's right there. You walk your fish up, you weigh it in. Every 2 hours, there's 8 prizes for the biggest fish of them 2 hours. The 8 biggest fish of the 2 hour period. So the catch is going to be, you can sit and look at your phone or listen to the radio, and you can say, oh, there's only a 21 or, a 8 ouncer winning 4th place. I want that cash, And what I've been thinking, and one catch I see to the whole system on that is, you don't know who's standing in line. So you got that excitement, but it's a lot of excitement, and it's different, and it's fun. And you might catch a 12-pounder in the first 2 hours and get to go sit at the local tavern and wait for something, the rest of the day if you want to. There's going to be live feeds at the community center and at the lake. You can do either or. You can fish all day. If you're a crankbaiter, it's a dream in my world, because you can put as many people in your boat as you want, and you take turns reeling them in. You know what I mean? It's legit. Now the scopers, they catch theirs. They kind of got to go sit back and let somebody else run their scope and see if they catch theirs. So there's just so much excitement and so much different. And in my opinion, and I mean, it's pretty obvious by the numbers, we need something different in the walleye world. The participation is going away, and it's, for the lack of better terms, it's not that exciting anymore, because there's another tournament next week. You know what I mean? It's just this way you got chances to take your family. It doesn't have to be 2 guys staring at a scope, and you're usually fishing against 6-8 boats that are going to win. I mean, some guy who only catches 1 fish in 2 days might win $10,000, and that's based on 200 people. If we get more, obviously, then prizes get bigger. AFTCO guarantees that 10 grand for first.
Okay, let's say, so if it's less, it's still 10 grand. 10 grand's the minimum.
Yep. The hourly will vary a bunch depending on the amount of entrants. So it is a little confusing, but everybody that's so worried about, oh my gosh, this is going to be such a mess. These guys have done this, and I'm hoping we give them enough to make it exciting and hard, but they've done it with bigger than what we're going to show out here. They've done big fields.
There's an app or something too, isn't there, that you can?
Yeah, there's it's AFTCO.com. You can go and see the rules, all the details, and get the stuff. And if you enter before June 20th, it's a $200 entry fee. You get $200 worth of AFTCO gear.
Right. I heard that, and I'm like, I think Zell was he broke it down for me a little bit. I'm like, all right, so I just read into it. It is really very simple.
It is simple.
It's just a lot of words, which for some of us makes things look kind of complicated, right?
Well, buddy, I was trying to come up with different systems, and I really hate the way tournaments are right now. I mean, I love tournaments, and I love tournament fishing. I'm born and raised. I just the rules that you got to follow, no call, just a whole bunch of stuff that makes everything difficult for the guy who has the best day to win. And I was trying to talk the Walleye Classic into doing a no overs and make it exciting. Let's have these weigh-ins where you run to the scale, because you don't want that drop of water to go away, and see how big that fish is, and it ain't 2 12-pounders that blow it out. And that way, I feel like everybody had a chance. When we put it out there, I got all negative response.
Really? Because that's how a wahoo fishes now. You got to go target your 2 big overs and forget the slots.
And yes, if you get lucky to have time to catch your slots, that's fine. But there's no reason to go get 12 pounds worth of slots when you can have 12 pounds with one fish.
Right.
And that's how you have to fish. And love it or hate it, I love that we have the opportunity. I don't love the fact that we're killing them all constantly. I will disagree with a lot of the professionals on how many we catch when we go scoping at night, because I've followed these fish for an hour afterwards. I've watched them eat. I've watched them swim back up to the top of the water and back down to 40 feet on their own without being caught.
Yep.
Them fish move. It's insane that with the stuff we didn't know before live scoping, what them fish actually do to themselves all the time that we think they're dead immediately. Oh, that fish is dead, they say. If you treat that fish right and fast, I would love to tag a couple hundred of them in a summer and show them they all get caught again, because I know I've caught the same fish before. I've went to the same tree and found him and caught him again. I mean, they do live. But what we do, and I love putting this on a podcast, everybody talks all the, what we do wrong, but we don't take them out of the net. We reel them fish up. We do net them. We used to try grabbing them, but it's grabbing a 12-pounder is a fight. We don't take them out of the net. We reach in. We very, very rarely measure one anymore. We clip a scale on if they're big enough, and we'll pick them up and 12-8, let them go. Don't even bring, they're out of the water for long enough to barely not drip. And the one thing that I think a lot of people have been taught wrong, we splash them big fish. We don't, that laying them on that surface tip and hold them there until they feel strong, that's where I've lost the most. I feel like, especially as the year goes on, we take them big fish, one hand, we don't hold them by the tail and count them up and down. We go one on the belly, one on the tail, and we splash them like you see a lot in the ocean. And them fish go 3-4 feet, they get mad. They don't like that. They explode and they're down there. They do. And they're back in their environment as fast as possible, and I think that's the best. I don't know. I'm sure we kill one every once in a while. We kill them because they eat a jig wrap, and you can't see it no more.
Right.
And we have to eat that fish on occasion, but I think we ate 4 last year, and
it's not bad.
I don't want people to know how many over 10 pounds me and my son caught last summer. If you say it, you're a liar. It's that many.
Right.
There's nights where you get over 20 of them. So it's spectacular. And I never feel like I watch them. I watch them swim down on the live scope. And if we were killing all of them, they'd be floating everywhere and we don't see them. So, obviously some fish die, but if they're a resource we don't use, then what's the point in having it? So it's a lot of fun though, man. Are we blessed to be where we are right now? Swan Creek's got it.
Well, and everything after 1st of June in South Dakota is a kill tournament, which sucks.
It does.
I know, and I talked to Blackwell about this years ago, and I get it. I thought it was bear trauma, but he said it was the live wells and the water temp. And I'm like, live wells have come a long ways.
They have.
And river fish are pretty damn tough, especially Mississippi River. I can't even catch those son of bitches in your live well after a whole day of sitting in there trying to get them out to weigh them in, But, I get it. Not everybody's got, the nicer, newer boats and live wells, but it's a G-juice and all that stuff works, man.
It does, but there are better systems. We can release them now. We've proven that in a lot of other places, and a lot of circuits do it. Like the bass even do it during the spawn. I see that on the YouTube and stuff. And my thing is, and I will stick to this, I'm not a biologist, and I promise you I'm not the smartest guy, but if you let them go, they have a chance. I give them the Dumb and Dumber philosophy. So you're saying they got a chance.
Yep.
I have never seen one spawn, and I will prove this over and over again. Once they go through my cleaning station out there, I've never seen one of them lay eggs the next year. That's 100%. Once we clean them, they don't spawn again. So they have a chance, and there is ways to do that, and it's a little more complicated. I always hear the argument, well, people don't come to weigh-ins to watch, pictures, and I kind of feel like that's changing. I think
it is.
People don't want to come to weigh-ins to see hundreds of dead big mamas, there that nobody even, we just clean them all.
And when was the last time you were at a tournament where somebody held them up?
Yeah.
Right. You get some of that there because you do have monsters, but if you go to the NWT tour, it's very seldom is somebody pulling it out of the bag and going, hey, look at these. Unlike bass, where they're always picking up their 2, but they're on it. They're getting them down. Someone's running it, getting it in the release boat, where we're obviously considerably slower than that and less staffed. But if you're not showing them anyway,
Yep.
what's the point?
Yep. There's, I mean, and I don't have the answers. I'm not pretending to sit here and have the answers, but it's troublesome watching all them big fish get cleaned, and what they always say, we're going to kill them anyway. Well, if there's a 100 boat field, 95 of them guys let them fish go all week, whether,
Right.
They didn't kill them all week. The only reason they killed them is because they're forced to in the tournament. And that's it. And, man, I don't have the answers, but and we're so good now at it. That's the problem. Old, you'd see 4 or 5 big ones. That MWC last week, every single boat had them, and wow, we have an amazing fishery, but my clients never get to keep one. Some of them we kill on accident. We'll get them mounted. A lot of them, I said we eat them, but a lot of them we get them mounted. And if a customer catches a 30-incher, I'll say, she's going to have babies. Can I let her go? I have that exact fish on my wall, and you can take it home today. When you get done, you can take that fish home, and we don't have to kill this one. And that works a lot. I mean, most people just want to let them go. Most people, a lot of people don't put them on the wall anyway, but
grab a photo and move on.
That's what we do. And we do it fast. That's the only thing I do feel bad. They caught the fish of a lifetime, and my kids they really don't like to see a big fish die. And they're like, okay, you done? Bloosh, the poor fish.
Right. Hurry up.
People are standing there like, oh my gosh. But my kids love this system, and they want to keep it alive as much as anyone. And we don't very rarely take our limits as guides, which this year it hasn't been a problem because but you try to do your best. I mean, we do make a living off the system, but it's also our favorite place on the planet. And if they said we couldn't do it, we'd be out there every day anyway. We just would never keep one. So
you filled out tournament permit fees, and now they've added the catch, photo, release option to it in South Dakota, and we do that. Or we have a league night at Lewis and Clark on Tuesdays, a couple Tuesdays a month, and that's what we do. Aim for on the board, bump board shot, bump photo, trophy, whatever shot, toss it back, 30 seconds. It's in the water, bam. Enter it in there. Fish Donkey app, converts measured weight, done deal. Everybody loves it. You don't have to worry about if your partner doesn't show up, and your best 5 fish, well, your limit's 4. And the only rule when I set this league up was we're doing it this week, so I'm not killing all these fish. In a system that isn't as healthy as a Oahe or Francis case. And everybody's kind of like, I don't know about it, but after one night they went, this is freaking awesome. We love this. We just first 5, and then you just kind of basically you're culling after that. It uploads. Like, you don't need to waste your time. If you caught a 15 and your smallest is 16, you just throw it back. And if you got a bigger one, it kicks out the smaller one for you to move on. But I would like to see the option, and they did it in North Dakota last year, it was a Kakawea tournament, where they gave them a special permit to do the release, even though they're the same situation, a kill tournament. Well, South Dakota, let's offer, and maybe they do it. I don't know if they haven't applied for it, or I don't. It's not on the form anywhere, but I'd like to see a special ask say, give us the option to release the ones we can.
Exactly.
And if they're dead, they're dead. But if 70% of these are going to live, let's throw them. And NTC is coming to Francis Case in a week, and you're talking 250 plus boats.
Exactly.
And probably an 80-90% limit of all those boats every day. That's a hell of a lot of fish.
It is. And the anglers aren't the ones who are going to fight it. They want to let them go. I mean, the tournament anglers, as far as what I see nowadays, they have no desire to kill the wrong fish. Everybody wants to fish fry. Everybody loves eating fish. But if during the week, they don't kill very many, they might kill a couple. The whole thing is, the old argument was, you remember, I seen a fish float and there was fish floating. I agree with that, and it stinks, and you should scoop that fish up if you have a spot for it in your live well, and you should be happy that 95% of them didn't float. That's how I feel about it. It does stink. Seeing a big fish float, I found a 30.5-inch the other day. It had a 14-inch smallmouth stuck in its throat. Nobody caught it. Nobody heard it. The friends from Iowa right behind me said, we're cleaning it. And they cleaned it, and the smallmouth. And they were both fresh. And if we could get to that where people are like, hey, it stinks, one died, but we had room in our live well. I don't like seeing that fish get wasted, We don't need to change the law where nobody can have it. And the aim used to, punish you if you did bring one in. And I didn't know if I agreed or disagreed with that, but I would love to see, like, hey, that fish is going to die. Bring it home. Even if say you just wanted to keep the fish, you shouldn't tell the angler they can't. but we shouldn't tell them they can't release them. That's my problem. I want them, give them the option to save that fish. And I mean, nobody wants to see 12 pounders get cleaned when that some little
Yep.
kid fish next weekend catch that fish and talk about it for the rest of his life. So it is. I hope eyes get opened, and I have talked, I have preached, I have talked, I have argued, and I've talked to the people at the top saying, let's do something, let's protect them. And I've been met with not the easiest conversation, but I'm going to keep trying. You know what I mean? It's if we don't keep trying and begging and asking for it, and things like what we're doing right here, I hope are helpful. I'm not blaming nobody. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying I think we can do better. Well, you can always do better, no matter what you're doing. You can always,
Right. Always do better.
and that's what we're trying. That's what
And,
we're,
and you're right. The tournament anglers aren't going to put up a resistance on this. And
No.
like you said, if we want some to eat, we're going to keep the little ones anyway.
yeah,
And that's perfectly fine. I mean, keep, whatever. And I tell them if they catch the big trophy one, yeah, I would love for it to go back, but I get it. It's you want it on your wall or whatever. And replicas are pretty damn good. I wasn't a big fan of them, but I've seen somebody doing some now. I'm like, that's good. I'm
Yep.
like, I'm okay with that now. That's a good replica,
Yep.
Or take them out of somebody else's backyard. Go to Lake Erie and get those things. Right?
Well,
They want you to take them out of there. So
exactly. But yeah, and like we said, we're not pointing fingers or blaming anyone because we're all to blame. I'm as much to blame as anybody, but
no.
we can do better, and I think it's just around the corner. I mean, people are going to realize that. And I honestly don't think a weigh-in would be real bad if everybody had a big screen and you got to watch everybody release all them big fish all day. I mean, you sure ain't sitting there going, well, that one's dead, I can't catch it. If you get to watch people take a hero, a grip and grin, and then throw it back, man, that fish is there for you. I think that's more popular in the weigh-in world. I mean, you could be sitting there with your family going, let's go try to catch that one. It's still there, instead of, no, it just went through a grinder over here a half mile away.
Yep.
To do it again.
You probably get a actual applause that way, and when you start seeing some of that stuff, and
exactly, you're going to get some yelling at weigh-ins and stuff and things like that again if you get to that, and everybody, whatever. I don't see how you can cheat a measuring system, and you know what I mean. You lay it down. Oh, people try to stretch it. Well, they just messed around for a half hour. They probably would have caught another fish. Lay that thing down, get it down, have it on record, and whatever. I mean, I don't have the answers. I'm not going to say I do, but I would go to all the weigh-ins if I could watch fish swim away instead of being cleaned. And I just fished a tournament up and the casino circuit's trying to do their best to keep. You have to bring in live fish.
Yep.
And the stress of me watching them fish all weekend in the live on Saturday, last Saturday, 4 footers. I'm fishing 6 feet of water with a jig and crawler, and my first one is bleeding when I net it.
Yeah.
And I pumped it full of G juice and that stuff, and I got her home alive 7 hours later. But don't think there was a 20-minute period where I didn't have my head stuck in a live well.
Right.
She was okay, and it's just like, we don't have to do this anymore. She might have died if I let her go, but her chances were a lot better if I put her back.
Yeah. It's you're spending so much time, or your partner's babysitting those fish all day and weight clipping them, getting them down, getting them to stay down, or fizzing them, or whatever the case may be. When let's just take the photo, put them on the board, throw them back, or at least give us the opportunity to release them at the end of the day when we bring them in.
Well, we release them all week. That's my whole problem.
Right.
Everybody releases them all week, and they say they're only floating on tournament days. Well, that seems a little strange.
Yeah. I mean, we got a lot more eyeballs on us, but,
that's right.
Sometimes there's not a ton of people at these weigh-ins anyway, but when you do throw them back, they usually die right away.
Yeah.
And there's somebody down there with the net picking these up, or kids just waiting to grab them and say, yep, look at all these fish we get to eat tonight, and I don't know what they're going to do in the NCC when you have these. I'm like, okay, we got our 8 fish at, I'm like, I don't want any of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you made me bring them in and kill them. They're your problem. I don't want them. I didn't want to do this.
So, yeah, and whatever, like we said, we're not throwing blame anybody's way, but there are better systems, and there's a better system in what I do every single day. I'm always working to improve on it, and I just hope we improve on the tournament world. And it'd be pretty exciting to see the NTC not have, or the NWT, you go a place and you got to have, your partner's got to catch one, or you got to, you know what I mean? I mean, I seriously was coming back. I was bringing my son, and we were going to do the tour this year, and I'm just like, but until they figure this all out, so we're not going and hoping we get lucky and catch them in the right order, because I mean, it just takes a lot of the skill out, and the guy who gets lucky and catches them in the right order, or doesn't care about his season, you know, keep throwing them back all day because you got to worry about points. And if we can go to something like that in that game, sign me up. Me and Bo, Bo's ready. I'm just not ready to throw him to the wolves when there's so much luck and timing and stuff like that involved. I mean, he can scope with anybody right now. He really can. But for him to go catch him, you know, he can tell the size, but what do you throw at that 25 when you're not going to win, but you got to keep it for points? And let's go catch the best limit we can in a day. And at the end of it, let's see who caught the best ones.
I mean, the bass guys get a coaling permit everywhere they go. I believe all of these are out there for like NWT. You just have to do the work.
Yeah.
And apply and ask the questions. And I can't say they do or don't do it. I don't know. The Federation isn't, and you know, Kelman, those guys are in charge of that. Yep. And maybe they do, and maybe they're getting denied. I don't know. I'm going to guess.
It's frowned upon in the game and fishing parks. It is it might be getting better, but it was looked down on for quite a while, the catch, record, and release. And I think they got to be seeing, you know, that the options are there and anglers are good and it can be done in a safe and it's the best thing. I mean, there's just no way killing them is the best thing. There's just no way.
No. I talked to Brian Blackwell, so I was listening. He's basically the head biologist for GFP and good guy, knows the stuff. And our South Dakota GFP, the COs and our biologists do a pretty damn good job, you know, obviously compared to a lot of the other states. But I talked to him about it when, you know, we're looking at AIM. I think there should be a North and South Dakota circuit. I think they would help their AIM numbers a lot in North Dakota. But the problem in South Dakota was the kill tournament stuff. So I talked to him and I explained to him what it was. Maybe I don't know, didn't get it the first time, whatever, but it clicked and he was like, oh, yeah, I got no problem with that at all. He's like, I'm like, they don't go in the live well at all. Like they're back in the water in 30 seconds, you know, or a minute at the most, right? If you have wind and other elements kind of causing problems. So he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, I have no problem with that at all. Go for it. And you know, and then they added that to the tournament page now. When you know, it's kill tournament, catch and release tournaments. But is it June 1st through September 1st is kill tournaments, I think. Yeah. So any before obviously is you catch and release. Hopefully that's what you're putting on there, and then catch, photo, release. So you know that option's there. Like you said, I think they're getting it, and to sustain your fishery, that's absolutely phenomenal. Let's keep that. Let's not let it die off in 2 years like some biologists predicted. I think something about the class of herring was going to kill off or something. Mother Nature's going to do its thing. It's like the zebra mussels, and we had all down here saying we just let nature just do what it does.
Yep, that's right.
They got here, they'll leave here.
Yep.
Something else will move in.
Well, you want to hear God laugh, make a plan, because it don't matter what we plan. Prove that over and over. I mean, Mother Nature the same way. Oh, really? You want to make a plan? Let's see how this hits you. You never know. And I mean, the future's bright. I look forward to it. We have low water levels, you know, and the amount of trees and brush growing along this system right now does come up. Oh my gosh. I would give anything for everyone at GFP to let's pour the perch to this thing here when that water comes back up, because there's something that can take place of the herring if the herring would go away. And boy, I like eating perch almost as much as them walleyes do. So, you know, forage and a fish that's very, very desirable. You know, we are seeing numbers of perch. Our crappies, I've actually caught a few this spring. We're protecting. I do know where there's some beds. I tell people all the time, yes, I can go catch some. No, I won't. I won't go touch them. We're starting to see a little bit of them again, but the water levels can stay low. I'm fine with it. Give me another year, and then let's let this thing come back up. And boy, the future will look real bright when that all.
That's fisheries boom, low water, willow trees, all this stuff grows up. Then bam, you got not necessarily a flood, but a nice high water year. And now it's Harlan County, Nebraska is a great example of this stuff where you couldn't get to fish for years. People just didn't know how. Now they're getting a little more educated. But then after a few winters where that ice started pulling those little trees out, and now you had little pockets, and it was like 4 or 5 years where I was like, oh, it's tough. And all of a sudden you're like, I remember I had 15 walleyes over 25 inches in 2 days there.
Yeah.
You know, it's been 10 years ago, and that was like unheard of.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, that's because you couldn't catch them for a couple of years, and they just got fat and they were hidden. So that's what, you know, hopefully you're going to happen for walleye.
We were winning a very high portion of the tournaments back when my kids were little, and it was all pulling planer boards over trees. And, you know, that's like throwing a straw in the wind. Now we can go target them, and we can throw a bobber to them. You know, I'm like, at night thinking about them water levels coming back. I just did that in Devils, man. We were weed fishing.
Yeah.
I've never got to weed fish before. Never
Oh,
had.
really?
Yeah, I quit before scoping,
Yep.
and I just have never got to target them in weeds. And I'm telling you, it's a good thing I had to come home and go to work because I'd have been there throwing it. I learned so. I only got to fish Devils 2 times. I've fished it 3 times in the last 8 years, and the last 2 days up there this weekend was that. That is so much fun to throw at them fish and them weeds. So
It is. That's it's a great place for scoping. That's kind of where I got my, a lot. If you need to learn, it's a very target rich environment
it is that
because you have so many isolated structure,
Yep.
pods that they're obviously on, whether
Yep.
it's rocks, weeds, or trees, or a combine or a barn or whatever the hell it may be underneath the water, right? They're there. And you find them, and then you just got to figure out, how to get them to bite, and it makes it fun. You're going to lose some lures, though.
Yeah, well, and it's a good place to sell tackle, also. So yes, that's very.
Yes, it is. It is. Especially the jigging wraps. I can imagine those pillars or those power poles. How many jigging wraps are tied to those? And it's like it's busted up concrete and rebar around the bases of them. It's a gnarly mess. I think halftime you're probably getting snagged on a pile of jigging wraps. And
that year when I was winning the NWT up there on day 1, I went through 36 jigging wraps and I quit fishing at 10 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I didn't fish the whole day. I would have went broke. I could have won the tournament. Yep. Paid Rapala, so it would have been a mess. But it was. It's an amazing place to fish. It's so much different than here. It just makes my day to go there because you get to do so many weird things that I enjoy it all. I do like trying absolutely everything you can do.
That's Skakawee is my favorite. Devils is my second. Anywhere on the Missouri rivers,
Yeah.
Right there. But Devils is just exactly what you just said is you can fish however you want.
Yep.
And tournaments, when we go to like a Bago system, a Devil's Lake, somewhere like that, where you can fish your strengths, whether that's the right thing to do or not, but you're going to enjoy it so much more. Yep. You're not stuck to open water trolling or something, which I love planter boards and watching them go down at Erie or something. But boy, if I can have a jigging rod in my hand, just like you, right? We're a little addicted.
I do like everything. And everybody always asks in my world, geez, you hunt and fish every day. Which one do you like more? Well, I fish until about the end of August, and I'm not lying. I'm done. I get done. I'm going to have a little tournament run there at the end with the Governor's Cup and the AFTCO and a casino circuit tournament. And I'm gone. I'm putting a bow and arrow in my hand, and I'm going till the day Shonda says I got to be lined up hunting pheasants. And I look forward to that as much as anything. And about the end of January, am I ready to go ice fishing again and get done shooting things? So I'm extremely blessed to get to do it in a beautiful place, and got a good team around me and a bunch of kids. So it's a lot of fun, and thank God he put me here because I'd have failed anywhere else I went.
It's a good place, and it's awesome that you got something for all those kids in the area. I mean, the reality is there's not a whole hell of a lot to do up there if you're not farming, whatever the case is, ranching.
I can tell you what they do. They graduate and they move as far away as they can if they don't do that stuff. So
Yep. They're out and they get a taste of something somewhere else, and so be it, and good on them. And a lot of them, I guarantee, will probably come back home when they have raising families.
Exactly.
I see that everywhere, and that's great. But give Chad a call if you need a job. Kids, you got to grow up there. And like I said, that's, after 5 days, after 2 weeks, you really kind of get to the guy life and go, this is exhausting. It isn't just going fishing every day is fun. It's your day starts a couple hours before they show up to several hours after they're done.
That's exactly right. Well, my low man on the totem pole today got caught. I was like, well, you don't get to fish today. We're removing flooring. You get to pull staples out of a floor all day. So it's not all catching fish and netting big fish. You do have other things, but he'll move up the pole quickly, and he'll get to tell somebody else next year that they got the crappy job when it comes to it. So
right, you got to cut your teeth. When is that AFTCO tournament? End of July?
Yeah, it's the July 23rd or 25th and 26th. I should have wrote that down, but it's the third. It's the last Saturday in July.
Yeah, I think we have our family vacation that week. So I looked at it. I was like, damn, yep, we're going to the FUP. I was like, I'll go out there and chase a big fish around for a couple days.
Yeah, for $10,000, you can't beat that. So
no, and a $200 entry, and like I said, by June 20th, you basically get your entry fee back in AFTCO clothing, which is awesome.
It's amazing.
Great stuff. The Reaper. I mean, it's just they've been bidding a long time making it because it's good stuff. Period.
Well, they have an amazing market on the on this the ocean offshore stuff.
Yep.
And the Midwest is where they need a market. And
Yep.
I mean, to throw just to give us this kind of opportunity. I mean, companies don't do this in the walleye world, especially on a small level, like
Yep.
a regional level and on the greatest playing field available right here, on Oahe. So I just hope walleye anglers need to show up, show their support for something like this. And man, it can it's an exciting deal. And they already have 3 times the participants they had last year. So, and that was in the first, few weeks of it. And I get calls every day and I explain, they're like, well, gosh, I'm bringing my family for that. And so we are in an area where we're getting rooms. So if you're going to do it, quit messing around, get a hold of us. We'll point you in the direction where we don't have rooms, and get it locked down. Get out here. There's beautiful campgrounds. Our parks do such an amazing job. Ryan Parsoon and the crew here, our parks in the whole area. Well, you've camped out there and stuff.
Yep.
Get something reserved and get out here and support this. It's going to be fun. I mean, the cast is always fun. So
Right.
come catch a big fish and have a good time and maybe win a bunch of money.
Yeah, South Dakota state parks are pretty damn nice. I pretty much live at one all summer, so it's my wife does a lot of tourism in other states and travels and car camps, and she's like, they all suck compared to what she's used to. And Lewis Clark is by far way above anything because it's massive.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do a great job. Keep it mowed, keep the bathrooms clean, the trash empty. I mean,
cleaning stations are second.
Yeah.
No one has anything like what we have.
No, all your clients, just like mine, are probably like, "What is this thing?"
Yeah.
Oh, I wish we had these, and if they do break down because the grinders are busy and the next day you come back, they're up and running.
We are blessed. I mean, we've just started the last few years where we have people who live at the parks, and they take care of them. They just live there and that's what they get. I think they get their camping to take care of things. Our guys out there right now, we had an outlet the other day and that guy was wiring immediately and had everything fixed. And it's just like, thank you so much. I mean, we are blessed.
We are. We live in a great place. And you got, so Oahe Wing the Walleye. So get a hold of Chad. If you need rooms, you got some places. You got another place too. Didn't you guys buy another?
We've leased the Prairie Pillow Sports.
Oh, okay. Leased. Yep.
It's better for the hunting end because there's a little gravel going there. Some people don't mind. We do keep boats in town for the people who do stay out there.
Yep.
We have a couple rental houses. We have a motel. And then we have the 2 lodges available for lodging. And we have good friends around the area that do some Airbnb stuff. And we also have another couple lodges in town that are available too. So the beautiful thing is you can stay at Whitlock's and put in for this one. And it's a 25-minute boat ride, but you're here to weigh in your fish. Mobridge, everybody's going to get supported by this tournament, and it's what's great for us is you can be right here close to the scale or you can put in wherever you want. And I'll promise you, I'm not going 10 miles away from Swan Creek. Everybody can know that right now. And there are going to be some other additional prizes and stuff added. I can't quite announce them yet. But there's going to be other ways to win. I mean, it's going to be, I'm hoping there's kids and female, weigh-ins and stuff like
categories and what have you.
Absolutely. Yep. But as we start getting more and get closer, we're going to announce some more of that stuff. And I'm excited. I skipped the Classic the last couple of years because there was 18, 19 boats. I could work or go to another one. And I was at the top of the list for signing up for this one. And all my guys are signing up and anybody can beat them. You only need to catch one. That's the cool. Everybody's got a chance here. And the thing about my son and Dewey and Tyson and guys like that, if they come to this, they're going to target that $10,000 fish. There's a good chance they don't win a category or anything because they're going for that one fish, and I'm washed up. So if I got an hourly one, I'm way.
Right. Help away that sucker. I'm going to cash in each day if I can.
Maybe I'll get like it wins the whole thing. There's going to be so much strategy. There's going to be broken hearts because they're going to be standing in line with the wrong fish, and that's be fun.
And you don't have to catch your fish and then bring it in right away. I don't think what people understand. You can sit on that thing all day long and wait for the right window.
Yeah, but waiting for that last hour is going to be a little scary because there's going to be other guys doing that, and you might be down at Whitlock's and you just give up your boat for the whole day and you watch your phone seeing what hours in you can win. Well, if you get to the last hour, guess what? There's 3 or 4 other guys that were sitting in the back of a boat waiting for their partner to catch one and bring it in too. So that last hour seems to be the hardest one, in my mind to win.
Yeah.
But it's going to be, who knows? That's the whole thing. We can talk and talk, but it's going to be.
That's what makes it fun, is you just don't know. And there's the gamesmanship, right? The little strategy, and did you play it right? And
Yep.
And, I mean, but you really don't know unless you're like in line and you're like, oh wait, I'm gonna run back to the boat with this one. I don't want to bring it in. I mean, you got to be kind of like, you're already in, buddy. You've checked in. You don't get a,
They have a system for that. Can you imagine 1,500 crappie fishermen and everything's within an ounce?
Yeah,
That blows my mind. I mean, we're gonna have some big weights, and I'm sure the big ones will be within a few ounces of each other. But it could be like 1.532
right.
crappies. I mean, I can't imagine. So,
no, but you got incentives though every 2 hours. I mean, there's a reason for somebody to be bringing fish in every couple hours, and if you get a couple hundred, I don't know how many signed up so far, but it seems like a couple hundred's a no-brainer. I mean, you get the Govs Cup and these other, the locals that are 100+ people showing up for these with a less chance of winning anything.
Yes.
To now you got basically a free entry in a sense.
32 payouts a day. There's 8 places paid out. So there's 32 a day plus the big one. I mean, so everybody likes to win a little something, even if it's not the check.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like getting a door prize almost here. And it's a lot less stress in a sense, because you're just fishing with, like you said, a bunch of people in your boat. You got one goal, one fish.
Yep.
The stress is, when do I weigh it in? Or do I weigh it in? That's it, right? So, but that's fun. That's what makes it fun. I think I got to double check this family vacation thing and see if we're back by then. But I'm sold. I saw it early. Like I said, I got confused, but I was totally overthinking it. And
me too. And the thing that I get, which it is. Everybody should have questions. There's no dumb questions, but people call me and they're like, well, how are they going to manage all this? And I'm like, guys, we're going to be small potatoes for this. This is a team that does this.
Right.
I mean, AFTCO, when I talked to them, when this whole thing was born, they called me and said, we want to do a tournament there. And I had just walked out of a Walleye Classic meeting where we're trying to come up with a way to make the Walleye Classic something again. You know, like we used to fill the town and have so much excitement and fun. And last year there was 19 boats. We begged 3 or 4 of them to fish it at the end. I let some guys use my boat so they could go fish it just to get some new blood in there. And it was, it was like, this is sad because it's such a great event. People love coming here, but that time of year, it's hard to get excitement in tournaments. There's been a tournament or 4 every weekend. And this is just that different. You know what I mean? And it's
well, I mean, tournaments in general, and I think you touched on one of your posts, that it's the walleye world needs something new, whether it's live streaming or not. I don't think people understand and I've said this 100 times on here, the cost that goes into that. You can't compare it to the bass and what they're doing. It's literally, I think I got it from them once, $200,000 per hour.
Oh my!
When you're paying your camera guys and streaming and studios, I'm like, there's not $200,000 all year in some of these circuits, so that's not going to happen. It's not going to work out that way. But this is a different twist. Economy is economy. Gas, boat fuel, none of this stuff is cheap.
Yep.
You shouldn't be fishing tournaments to make a living because you're not.
No.
Right? You're going to go broke pretty quick. You're doing it because you love the sport, you love the pass, you love to compete. I've been donating plenty the last year and a half, and it sucks, but I'm not going to give it up. I'm just going to strategically fish ones that don't cost as much. But we're going to keep doing it.
Exactly. And you know what? I don't like the unloading. I don't like all that chaos that come with tournaments, and this hopefully has that answer to that too a little bit. What they do when it gets big, like when these things blow up and they get big, they have several weigh-in sites.
All right.
Right now we're not planning on it because we're hoping for 200 people.
All right.
Like when they have 1,500, 3,000 entries, whatever they get to in some of them big bass bashes, they'll have 5 different weigh-in stations.
Yeah, they'd have to.
That would be insane, wouldn't it?
So, American Fish Tackle Companies, AFTCO, huge company, big in the conservation world. AFTCO gives back a ton and does a ton for the resources, which theoretically that's what they're doing with this. Yes, you're catching a fish, and it's South Dakota, so it gets killed or whatever the case may be. But those that don't fish a lot are buying a fishing license.
Yep.
Right? You're getting Pittman Robertson stuff. They're buying, or not Dingle Johnson Funny stuff, right? You're buying license, you're buying tackle, you're buying, the marine tax fuels.
Yep.
All this goes back to the state or go back through the federal funding, gets funneled back to the state, creates money, goes back into our fisheries.
Yep. And AFTCO is huge in conservation. I mean, they've got a bunch of ideas and things they're going to do. They hand out cleanup bags.
Yep.
And there's an award for who fills up the cleanup bags the fullest. And I mean, they do all kinds of stuff. everything's about conservation and taking care of the system. And it's a family who loves fishing and loves conservation and taking care of things. So, I mean, it's if you're going to stand behind something, this is a heck of a company to stand behind it. I'm so proud to be, and I met them through pheasant hunting. I took Mike Ballister and Bill Shepke pheasant hunting. I didn't even know who they were. We were having a blast and just great people. And that's how this whole thing got born. I mean, they're like, we want to do a tournament here. I was like, who are you? I didn't even know,
Yep.
have a clue. And I mean, it's a friendship that'll last forever. These guys are just good people. They're good.
Yep. I know Mike. So
Yeah.
yeah, they're doers. So thank God. And Mike's involved with all sorts of stuff. So which is how he found you, and then he knew, well, hey, this is a good place to have it because he
got invited on a late season pheasant hunt. That's the cool thing. It wasn't like he just got thrown into the mix with the Schilling shit show, as we like to call it. And it's been an awesome friendship ever since. So
and for guys like us that make our living on these resources, it is protecting these resources is the first and foremost important thing there is. If we don't have it, we don't have a job, but we don't have a future. So it's not always just getting the kids back; it's getting anybody back reignited. COVID helped that in somewhat sense. People that kind of took time away from fishing or outdoors, got back into it. Some went left, but I think overall numbers continue to climb. Hunting tends to drop. North Dakota had an uptick, but fishing numbers, it still may be slow, but they're
climbing.
They're climbing.
I try to tell people about guides, and people, I mean, they're bad in everything you do, and there's people who don't do the right thing, and that's their deal. I'm not throwing stones because nobody's perfect, but we go 4 to 6 people a day every single day of the week. All my people wouldn't be fishing if they didn't have the availability of going with us. They don't own rods. They don't own boats.
Yep.
A good portion of them couldn't do it by themselves. They can't climb in a boat.
Oh, yeah.
So we are giving people, I mean, yes, we make a living at it, but we're also putting people out there that wouldn't do it. And half of them now are bringing their grandkids who haven't had the opportunity, and they don't do it. And we cause a lot of addiction. It costs a lot of money. I mean, we bring a lot of people.
It's a good health addiction, though. This stuff's going to help sustain your life and make you live longer. So
absolutely, it's true. So,
Les Chat introduces you to the AFTCO bar.
Yeah, well, and somebody needs to come buy one here. I got one right next door. They need to call my wife and call some people here, and we got one place open. So
is that still for sale?
It is for sale. There's a couple. There's always people looking. Everybody keeps trying to talk me into it. My life is bliss. I'm not gonna lie. I really live a good life. And owning a bar and a restaurant doesn't seem to fit into my hand the way my cards are dealt right now. But
that's a lot of work.
If I had the energy, but I'm getting to where I'm ready to go the other way. Slow down, not work harder. So, but yeah, anybody who's interested in something like that, get a hold of us also, and we can point you in the right direction. It needs a good family that needs to come in there, and there's a lot of opportunity there also.
There you go. He's the mayor of AFTCO, folks. It's Richard Jack. He's their number one salesman. So.
Oh man, I sure appreciate this opportunity, Brian. We've never done this before, but it's been a blast. Thank you.
You bet. And time to wrap this up. We got to leave these listeners. What kind of tip or a little nugget you got to make them better along their journey? I think we've already dropped 20 of them for them, but
the one thing I always do is, like I talked about, make it easy. Fishing doesn't have to be hard, and it doesn't have to be stressful. And something I see a lot here that, I mean, this is something not a lot of people talk about, but I've got people who come to the cleaning station. They we only kept 4 fish today. We don't have the rules you do where they have to be 15 inches, and people ruin their whole day to catch all over 19 inches, and they'll let go 14 and a half inches all day long because they had to be that long. And take what you're dealt in a day. Be happy. Catch, and eating a small one tastes so much better. I used to have a rule: if you can't eat 3 by yourself, you're eating too big a fish. That used to be my rule, and we had so many small ones. But we're only granted so many days out there. Don't ruin it because you had to have all 15 inches or 16 and a half inches. Take what you're given and enjoy the day, and be good. Be nice to each other, man. It seems like that's one thing we have seen a little bit more this year is people get a little more worked up, and the weather probably had a lot to do with that. But you won't catch one of my crew members yelling at you or doing any of that on the lake. And I see other guys doing it and doing that. please, if it ever is one of my kids, let me know, and then don't let the cops watch while I fix that problem, because
Right, we're going to take care of it.
Our world, and we keep everybody. We try to be happy and do it the same and treat
Right.
everybody fair. So
There's some corrective measures that get taken sometimes. We all make mistakes, but
yep, exactly.
we get a little excited sometimes with fishing, and if our clients get real excited, which I always tell them that's great, but slow down. Take it out of the rod holder a little slower, But then lately I've been like, real faster. Come on, this fish is going to swim ahead of the boat. Let's go, But they're learning, right? Like you said, you're giving them opportunities. And I actually heard the same words today from that couple retired guys this morning, and we got them quick. But he quickly realized, first they were like, this boat's awesome. I got the 400 V10 on it. And he's like making fun of his buddy who he fished out of his boat. And he's made the day goes, I'm getting rid of my boat. He's like, I'm never going. The other guy's like, I'm never going to go in your boat again. And he's like, that's fine. I'm getting rid of it. He's like, by the time I pay for my boat, do this, he goes, why don't we just hire this guy to take us out to 2 or 3 times we go a year anyway? He's like, then I don't have to store it. I don't have to do this. I was like, that's a great idea.
Yep.
Here's the availability camera. Like, it makes sense. If I travel somewhere far, I'm like, I'll just hire a guide. I'm not going to spend the fuel and everything. Right. So
it's
educators.
It is. And we try to do that the most we can. And it's such a great thing. And the walleye world, we need to rebuild. I mean, people throw shame at everything. The scoping isn't quite as bad as they're talking to all the bass world. They're fighting and don't have no animosity. If you don't scope, your probably neck feels better. You're not frustrated with everybody else. But enjoy your day. Don't go in and look at the cleaning station, be mad because somebody had 4 bigger, and you be happy for them. That's it's too much fun doing what we do to go come out of there looking for a reason to be mad every day. Go find a reason to be happy, and it makes your day better.
There you go. No better words than that. Find a reason to be happy. Turn off the news and go fishing.
Go fish.
And just be happy. All right. Oahe Wings and Walleyes, folks. Check it out. We'll put some links below. I'll get some links to the AFTCO page so you can sign up for the tournament. Let's get it. Let's get 200 plus. Somebody's going to win that money. Don't make sure Chad isn't the guy. He's going to give her hell. So is this whole team and boat. They're going to be on it. So
they're going to be on it, but there's a lot more involved now. We honestly believe we can go get 2 big ones in perfect slots in most tournaments, and you don't have to do any of that. You just got to catch 1 bigger. And we rarely catch the big fish of a tournament. So.
And the reality of it is, it's going to be someone who just lucks into it.
I hope so.
It's going to be a one-timer pulling a big crankbait and just
somebody drops a bottom bouncer and catches it.
Yep, exactly.
That's what I would love. So
yeah,
where everybody goes in the tournament saying, "I'm going to go win something tomorrow," and I think that's what's hurting the tournament circuits is people know there's certain guys that are better at it, the scoping stuff, and now you don't have to be perfect. You got to get 1 bite.
You got to be lucky, and lucky is better than being good sometimes, right? So you don't have to worry about which order they come in, as long as it's big.
Yep,
it's all that matters.
It's going to be fun to watch, no matter what.
It is fun. So I hope to see you all out there. We'll see. Like I got to check my calendar, and I don't need to pre-fish, so that's the good thing. If you just got to show up, you show up and figure it out.
We'll drive around and get that bite.
Yep, I got a scope and I got lead core rods. That's all I need. Right, a couple of those and a couple.
Yep,
that's it.
So.
Good to go. Better have that bottom bouncer, I guess, still, because that's going to be the ticket. A little slow death out there. Hard to beat it. Hard to beat it. It is hard to beat it. So. All right. Well, thanks a ton, Chad. We will hear from you again. Maybe we'll follow up after that tournament a little bit, see how it went, and see kind of how the wheels all didn't fall off and how it spun, and hope to God they don't fall off. Maybe we get 400 people. That's a good problem. So.
Storms or something, and that is what we deal with that in any second. So that doesn't matter what's planned here, but
we can't control that. So
hopefully she'll smile for a few days there for us. So.
July's semi-stable weather, so
way to mess that up, Brian.
It's gonna be hot. That's the guarantee. It's gonna be hot itself. You haven't been to South Dakota in general, but especially that area in July, it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be dry. Wear pants and long sleeves because the flies are gonna bite the hell out of you. So douse yourself in some spray.
In this, buddy.
But it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun as hell. I'm not the mayor of Alaska, so I don't know. Right? Sorry, take that back. But you're right. Yeah. Oh, man, I'm pumped up for it. So
me too.
We got to get that going wildfire all across, so the people out east got places to go. Do it on Green Bay. Do it in Lake Oahe. Do it where there's so many great.
They do it. It just seems like too much fun. So yeah, it's a cool deal, and maybe it'll bring a bunch of life back into an awesome sport that needs to have a little rejuvenation.
All right, and an awesome community. All those towns up along that river there, they could use all your support. This is what they live and thrive on, theoretically, and it's a good business. But we're not getting rich, and we ain't retiring anytime soon.
No.
I mean, Chad's retirement plan might be buying the Akaska bar. I don't know. So it's just.
No. I got to talk. My daughter says every day on the boat. My daughter's my boat boy. My whole family's in this, and we will be forever. And every group, she says, "You look like you want to own a bar." She says it to every single player.
Somebody's got to bite sooner or later. So they're going to come up their pheasant hunt once and be like, "This place is beautiful. It's awesome. I want to stay here." Well, I have just the perfect opportunity for you, sir, ma'am. It's a great deal.
Yeah, that's right. So.
Great deal. All righty. All right, folks. Thank you a ton, Chad, and thank you all for listening and tuning in to another episode of Real Talk Fishing, brought to you by Seagar High Performance Braids and 7 Reels. Check them out at 7reels.com. Those are made by St. Croix Rods and Seagar.com. They got some of the best braided line out there. I don't know if you got any, Chad, but I'm going to bring some up your way so you can try it out. But the Seagar Smackdown is some good stuff. So, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe, and we will see you on the water.
Thanks, guys.
Hey folks, Brian Shore here with Clean Cut Cutting Boards. This thing is awesome. I always carry one along with me in the truck for days like today where I find myself just getting off the water. We got a couple, nice walleyes that we kept to eat for tonight. And the fish cleaning station is broke down, or a lot of times early spring and in the fall they're closed, right? A lot of places people don't have fish cleaning stations, or whether you're somewhere really remote, you're back at your cabin or your camper, you find yourself after a good day of fishing, you got some fish to clean, and you don't have anywhere to do it. I always have this Clean Cut in the back of my truck, ready to go anywhere. That's what's awesome about them. They come in 2 different sizes, a variety of colors to meet your needs. These things are just all-purpose and on the go. You can flip this thing over, and if you're having a big gathering or something, it's basically got a big bowl on the back to put your pulled pork in it. You can make a vegetable tray, whatever it may be. It is more than just a cutting station. It is a very versatile, durable unit made by Rufflin Kennels. So check them out over at rufflinkennels.com for the Clean Cut Cutting Station. Try it out. I guarantee you're going to love it like I do.